Well, it's always a big game in La Liga, the Derby de la Comunitat between Villarreal and Valencia. Graham Hunter joins us on Football Forecast this week to look ahead to it. An important match. I think we've got to talk about the manager, though, Unai Emery of Villarreal, who's been getting so many plaudits of late. He's got an incredible record when it comes to European football, Graham. Do you think he's been underrated by the public?
It depends where we're talking about. Maybe in the UK, because really the way that both the public and the media treated him when he was Arsenal manager, I found deplorable, mocking him because of his accent and pronunciation. How could you ignore his talent, his attention to detail? I think Hugh, he comes from a school of coaches like, for example, Cholo Simeone, Rafa Benitez, Julian Lopetegui at Sevilla, where to work under them is really intense. And I mean intense. That's not about like, you know, if people talk about Alex Ferguson's Manchester United, the training ground atmosphere, and how every pass, every gesture, every sprint, every training match was monitored, and you were pushed around, maybe even bullied by senior players. That's the type of intensity that's very different under Unai Emery. If you've had the great good fortune, and I have a number of times, to see his training sessions, it's ultra detailed. He's one of those managers who's also an interventionist coach on the training pitch. The video sessions daily can be 2 hours. A lot of what he does goes contrary to what the modern thinking about is, you know, players don't need their pretty heads filled too full of details. Just give them little gobbets of beautiful information and let them move on so that they can buy their next Rolls Royce. Unai Emery doesn't feel like that at all. He's like, I'm going to show you this. I'm going to show you again. You're going to recite it to me. Then I'm going to show you again. And then maybe you've passed the test for today, and I'll see you back here in the video room tomorrow. And you know, the result, he keeps winning European trophies.
Does that sort of link to why he's so good in Europe? Because he's a 4-time Europa League winner. He's now going for the big one. He's taken out Bayern on the way. They're into the semi-finals against Liverpool. He seems to just master European football. Is that all to do with the fact that on a one-game occasion or two-legged occasion, he can sort of go over the finite details and get them through to his players and then get them to execute it, rather than maybe sometimes in the league where Villarreal haven't been as, let's say, prominent?
I think you've expressed it well, Nubaid, in terms of what he does in Europe. But I think you have to add two factors. He's often had talented footballers. So, for example, when you're working under Monchi at Sevilla, I genuinely think he's the best scouting, developing, selling football director anywhere in the world. Certainly, probably across my entire career as well. And that clearly helped add to the way that you explained Unai Emery's, preparatory intensity. At Villarreal as well, I genuinely think he's got a couple of very, very special footballers. But to do all the prep, to do all the analysis, to do all the teaching, you then also ultimately have to really understand where your opponent's weaknesses are. And I think that's another skill that if we didn't mention right now, we'd be wrong about. And also, you live in a different country from me. You regularly cover Premier League football. There are a lot of clubs, there are a lot of fan bases and a lot of player squads who aren't as patient with a lifestyle like that. It brings you dividends. It has repeatedly made him better than his rivals. He still believes, and I think it's really odd to be saying that at a time when he flirted with Newcastle and really annoyed the owners of the club. He was the appointment of the son of the president, of the owner, rather than of the owner himself. So that was a big bet for Roach Jr. to make. And then to find that Unai Emery was making eyes with Newcastle. He still believes that he's got a future in the Premier League at some stage if the right club comes along, which, some people over where you live might find odd. Arsenal fans, I don't know, might find odd that the media won't have learned a lesson. I predict you that. But I think he's extremely special. But in La Liga, occasionally he's been caught being a little bit too conservative. Don't lose first, which will get you through a lot of two-legged ties, exactly as you explained. But across a 38-game season, might leave you a little bit short of the all-in moments you sometimes have to have if you want to be top four or even win the title.
Graham, you did a deep dive on this derby over on the Bet365 YouTube channel. And it sounded to me as if this would always feel like a bigger game for Villarreal. But like you just said, Villarreal have almost overtaken Valencia in the last however many years. Who who's this game actually bigger for? Because there's a 7-point gap between them in the table. If Villarreal win, they'll also be looking at Sociedad, who take on Barcelona. A win for them would put them within 3 points of Sociedad, and they're into 6th. Valencia are a long way back behind Villarreal, so it feels like a bit of a pride game for them. Which manager or which club or which fan base is going to be saying, this is actually the derby we need to win?
Villarreal fans come from what was regarded as a little, hick town. There would be even more massive unemployment there if it weren't for Fernando Roig and his porcelain industry. And therefore, irrespective of how things are going generally for Villarreal, the idea is sticking it to the big boys, and Valencia consider himself the big boys. European trophies galore, you might be able to say. League titles as recently as the beginning of this century under Rafa Benitez. Remember, 2 league titles. Things that Villarreal across their history have never been able to aspire to. They can aspire to it now. They're the informed club. Fernando Roig is setting them up such that he hopes they'll be self-sustaining long after he and even his son aren't there. But if you've been perennially sneered at and put down, and you're a little country town of 50,000 people, and Valencia considers itself the true heart of Spain, it's a beach paradise, a lovely place to live. If Villarreal get the chance to just dab one on the chin of Valencia again and again and again and again, it means a lot more to their fans, a lot more.
I think this game's only going to go one way, 1 win in 5 for Valencia, beaten at the weekend by Osasuna. You have to favour Villarreal in this, and I think they will win it in what will be an interesting contest, but 2-1.
Yeah, listen, I'm glad you agree with me. It's rare people do. Villarreal, if they go flat out, Villarreal, if they're at it, they should not only win, but you'd imagine that they dominate the latter part of the second half. More energy, less at stake for the weekend. Higher up the league, the better for them as well. There's more money for the higher up that you finish in every rung of La Liga's ladder. I expect Villarreal to win. If they're flat out, they should win by 2. The one small factor is there'll be 1 or 2 in the Valencia 11 who don't think that they're playing against Betis in the cup final at the weekend, but might think they can just about earn themselves a place with a heroes display. Halftime parity, Villarreal win.
My club as a kid was Valencia. And basically, because you two guys have both said Villarreal, I reckon I'll go a draw. I don't actually think that's going to happen. I don't think Valencia have any chance of winning this game. I've watched them a number of times this season. I don't think they play particularly good football. But Unai Emery might have half an eye on the Champions League. You never know. I know it's a while away still, but you never know. Valencia fans might just be able to hope for a draw, but I don't see any way past Villarreal. You guys let us know in the comments. Are you back in Valencia? Are you back in Villarreal?
Hi, I'm Hugh Woozencroft from ESPN's Football Forecast. Make sure you're subscribed. You can follow all of our predictions throughout the season and get some other great analysis from our big names as well.